Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like the Cardinal offense, has a bad approach and bad results. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Vince Marcos.
That one hurt, Nate.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. Hambone, we're back.
Yo.
We've survived a weekend at the Ozarks. Had to fight off Jason Bateman, all the cliches.
Wow.
I never watched the show, but I assume there's a lot of fighting Jason Bateman.
No, I think it's more of him like CPAing his way to trick drug lords, but we only watched a couple of episodes and we could not suspend our disbelief because people were wearing jackets in the summer in Missouri, and I found it unrelatable and unrealistic.
That is quite the opposite. It is horrible here in the summer.
Even when the sun goes down, doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's pretty funny. It's funny the little things like that you catch, when something is set in a place that you're familiar with.
That you've spent a massive chunk of your life in. Yeah, it's just like, well, that woman definitely wouldn't have her hair down because it's probably 95 degrees out with 97% humidity. She wouldn't look that good. There was no way that he'd be wearing a jacket. It just, all of it doesn't add
what
up.
They say. It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Oh, brother.
Wow. Anyway, we competed in our yearly fishing tournament. And the big question, the open question on everyone's mind, the thing on the Chiron, the ticker, everything, will they get last place? The betting odds were huge and everyone was betting yes. Yes, obviously they're going to get last place. But Ben, I am here to tell you and tell the world, a shocker, a tidal wave spread through the Ozarks, drowning Jason Bateman and all of his all of his CPAs or whatever he was doing that you just explained to me. And I'm here to tell you, we did not get last place.
That's right.
No, we were bottom third.
Yes,
but not last place. Despite the fact that you fished for maybe 50% of the time, we were there. We were not at the bottom.
That's right. And did I break and also fix our boat? Maybe. But I showed up. No one can argue the fact that I showed up. I absolutely showed up.
Everyone was there.
And then I stopped caring. About, I don't know, a couple hours into day 2. But I showed up. And I was getting on fish. I broke and fixed the boat. I was present. I was, that's really all I can say, I guess. There's not much
and
else.
Continuing our streak of not falling in.
That's right. I almost fell in.
You did almost fall in.
And you guys were cackling at me with laughter.
Well, because it's also like the holy grail of the trip. At some point, one of us is falling in.
Yeah.
It's frankly astounding it hasn't happened yet.
I was peeing off the back of the boat like a classy ass gentleman, like I am. So falling into my own refuse would have been, I don't know if I show up today for the show. I don't know what happens if that happens.
Again, that seems like the situation, the sort of moment that it is most likely to happen.
For sure. You're so vulnerable.
You do feel vulnerable, know, it's not like we're in the ocean and you're just pointed off towards the distance.
Right.
You're like, no, we're not in a big part of the lake. So no matter what, there's like someone's house like less than 50 feet from you.
Yeah. You either have to be like, you either have to feel vulnerable while you're doing it, or you have to take on some like level of dominance. Like, I'm going to look into your house and I'm gonna take care of my business.
Look at me.
And also, like, to be clear, like, when you're having 10 bush lights out on the water, there's not really much of an option. What are you gonna do?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a near frequent activity. But hey, we did not fall in,
Nope.
and we did not come in last place. So I'd say success across the board.
There was a very real chance of particularly me getting electrocuted at one point. That didn't happen.
Did not happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think we stabbed ourselves many times with lures. That was really the only.
I have found a number of cuts.
Yeah.
That I did not realize that I had acquired.
Yeah. So
my favorite thing is when we were packing up to leave, when I got, I have this like cloth bag, which is stupid. But I wasn't too worried about being organized when we were packing up to leave. I was like, I'll deal with this later. So I sort of just threw a bunch of my stuff into this cloth bag. And as we were going to the car, I got my jacket and the cloth bag intertwined in a treble hook and had to take the whole thing off. And I don't know if you noticed me in the back seat for like a half an hour of the drive working on unwinding these two things to not ruin my jacket.
No, I was too busy trying to stomp down my hangover while the maniac was driving us home.
Drinking our essentially milkshake coffees from McDonald's.
Those the coffee offerings at McDonald's are a pile of shit. That was, I mean, I needed it to live, but it was bad.
Yeah, I think the last time I've been to McDonald's was the year before when we went there for coffee, because there's not a lot of options in this little town
Eldon
that we're outside of. And yeah, you order getting real close to yelling at clouds here, so sorry, but you order a normal iced coffee and you get like a half gallon of milk that has sugar and coffee flavorings, I believe, added to it.
Yeah, and I'm not a baby. I don't drink milk, okay?
Right.
I'm a man.
Children. Wow.
I'm a man child, maybe, but I don't drink milk.
But anyway, success.
Yep.
Thanks for all the support from all of you out there. I know you were all betting against us, rooting against us, but it's in those moments that we really thrive.
Yeah. Haters to the left.
I'm always swiping left on haters.
Which is that the good one or the bad one?
I don't. Yeah. Now we don't want to go down that road.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. We'll do it again in a year. We're talking about buying a pontoon boat.
Yo, if you want to sell us a cheap boat, hit me up at talkingaboutbirds@gmail.com.
Yeah, we're thinking about going big. We've been using these little fishing boats, and we've thought, you know what, these things are not fat, flat, and slow enough.
Wow.
So we're talking about getting a pontoon boat next year to get more people on it. And, if we do that, that probably strikes out anyone falling off the boat. It's got railings.
I don't know. I think our confidence could lead to
safety,
failure,
the safety, the appearance of safety.
Right.
Yeah. Well, a major story happened in baseball last night that normally I think we would leave something like this for the league news segment at the end, but it's so remarkable that felt necessary to get to it at the top here. Ben, can you sort of guide us into this?
I wanted to highlight this, and it's the only thing that I've been thinking about since last night, because I am extremely allergic to stinging insects. And I imagine that I'm allergic to the bite of a diamondback. So this is a nightmare scenario for somebody like me. But anyways, last night at the Dodgers Diamondbacks game, there was an hour and 55-minute delay because a swarm of bees was on the net behind home plate, and they had to call in a beekeeper. Took him a while to get there, and he vacuumed all the bees up. I don't know if you saw that, but he got on like a cherry picker with a shop vac and vacuumed them off the net, and then they allowed him to throw out the first pitch.
Yeah, what a hero.
It's an amazing, just a thing I've never seen happen. What a hero. And again, I can't think of a worse scenario for specifically me than showing up to the ballpark. You got great seats. You're right behind home plate or by the dugout. and you look up and there's like 1,500 bees sitting in a swarm. I assume the queen was there or something like that. And
Ooh,
there could
the
be a
queen was dead.
diamondback or a rattlesnake or whatever anywhere.
Uh-huh.
Lots of ways to die.
Yeah.
And I just think, I don't know, I shouldn't have to worry about that at a ball game. And I think we need to talk, or we need to get Rob Manfred on the show and ask him what he's going to do about this. But
We need to
it's
grill him about these bees.
grill him about these bees. And I get it. Everybody likes bees. There's, they're good for the world and flowers and yada, yada, yada. But I don't like bees, Nate.
It makes me like bees more that they could kill you.
That's so tight of you.
I also, a bit of synchronicity. I saw a story today about a.
Did you read it or you just kind of?
I did what we all do. I just sort of, I was like, oh, okay, headline. But apparently there was this kid who'd been complaining about a monster in their room. And the parents had been like shrugging it off, like, yeah, there's a monster in your room. Yeah. There's a monster in the walls or something like that. They finally took the kid seriously and investigated. In their wall, 50,000 bees.
Boo! I'm moving. I'm moving.
Yeah. There's no coming back from that. Burn the whole place down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
50,000?
That's what it said.
I thought there was a bee shortage. What's going on here? I'm hearing this. I'm hearing that,
Yeah. That's what they want you to believe. There's not enough bees.
Is this still Rob Manfred's fault or is this somebody else's fault?
I think it's Rob Manfred's fault.
Piece
the
of
earth
shit.
Isn't flat. There's not enough bees. All this bullshit that we're hearing all the time.
But for real, when I look at the earth, where's that curve, baby? I don't see anything.
Yeah, right? Makes sense to me.
Think about it.
Think about it.
All right.
Well, I'm glad you put that at the top. It is pretty remarkable. What a hero, that beekeeper. Apparently, I'm sure some didn't survive, but apparently mostly like relocated all the bees.
Hey, you know what? It's the cost of doing business. Sometimes you squish a couple of bees into your shop back while you're sucking them off the home plate net. Okay. Mm-hmm. That just happens. Shout out to my apiarist out there. Let's go.
Hey, Siri, unleash a horde of bees in Ben's basement, please.
It's so stupid. Nate's been working on his killer apps. He's an idiot. So,
all right, let's talk about the Cardinals. So we wrap up.
Nate, big show today. There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to complain about. There's a lot to talk about. Let's get into it.
There's some good.
We should
just hop right in.
All right.
So it is May 1st. We've wrapped up April. The Cardinals in April just under 500. Had a chance to end April at 500 with the doubleheader yesterday, and couldn't quite make that.
Oh, they hate it, don't they? They hate it.
Yep, they sure do. And that said, ultimately not the April that we wanted. But like, we've been kind of talking about all season so far. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. For what it's worth, the Cardinals ended April of 2023 at 10-18. So
yeah,
better. And the Cardinals are not in last place. Hooray.
Yeah, they're in fourth.
So they're in fourth. So better.
Yes.
Better.
Without a doubt, better.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear, pretty obvious, but still not great.
No.
And we are marching out of small sample size territory, and we're now in the second month of the season. And the Cardinals are currently losing against the Tigers, though, as we saw in game one, and we've seen a lot this year. They do have some comeback in them, so game's not over yet. Could win the series against the Tigers, which would mean the Cardinals have won 3 series in a row and like 5 of the last 6 series.
Yeah.
Of course, that's assuming they win, which they're not on pace to do right now. And it's also really putting your blinders on to the 3-game sweep by the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
But anyway, specifically, what do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, I think I want to just stay on the positive side because I would also like to complain quite a bit on this episode. But to stay on the positive side, I want to talk about the Alec Burleson breakout that I believe we are finally
Yeah.
witnessing, and it is happening in real time in front of our eyes. He had a beautiful couple of hits in the doubleheader. He's got a
Uh-huh.
single in Wednesday's game. And if you allow me, I'm just going to read off some stats and some
Proceed, Governor.
figures to kind of support my argument here. Um, his WRC plus has eclipsed 100 for the first time in his MLB career.
Woo.
I think he's sitting at 108, 109. It probably went slightly up since he's had a hit today, but that's amazing. I think his previous high was in the like low 90s. His BABIP is at a normal number, which is another thing that has been a problem with Alec Burleson's career. He's sitting at 314 right now, which is basically, league average.
Yeah.
And he's been well below that. Like I think 240s, 230s. So
Yeah.
that's exciting to see. And that means that, you can assume he's making quality contact or at least league average contact quality when his BABIP is around that number. You can also believe the numbers that he's putting up because you can assume that there's not just pure luck happening right now.
Right.
Now, where it gets really exciting, Nathan, is when you pull up his baseball savant page number. And
Okay.
I'm going to list a bunch of stats. His xWOBA, his X batting average, his X slug, his exit velo, his hard hit percentage, and sweet spot percentage are all in the 84th percentile or higher.
Nice.
So that
It's
means
a
that
lot of red.
it's a lot of red. It's a lot of quality contact. It's a lot of good decision making. And what I'm seeing just through straight up the eyeball test, and I'm not,
Wow.
hit me up if I'm wrong on this, is that when he is getting into favorable counts, he is taking what I like to call a daddy hack, meaning that he is swinging with authority, and we're seeing the ball go over the wall, over the outfielder's head, into the gap. All these, that's where this higher exit velo is coming from.
Yeah.
And then I think he's still using his high contact approach when the count is not in his favor. But I'm calling it right now. Like, pick him up on your fantasy team, move him up in the lineup for the Cardinals. Start him against righties, essentially no matter what. And some lefties, I am buying it. I think the Burley breakout is here. And we've been asking for this, or we've been looking for this for 2 years, and to see it actually happening is really, really encouraging.
Yeah. That's why we call him Chief Beef, folks.
Yeah.
We love him, don't we, folks?
Wow.
I mean, I'm here for it. Like you said, he's been one of those guys that has been frustratingly underperforming his metrics for quite a while now. And some of that has just been sample size. Some of it is that he's a big, slow dude. So he's not going to carry probably a 314 BABIP is a little high for him. But he also hits the shit out of the ball. And so the better contact he makes, the more often those are going to be line drives, the less likely they're just going to go straight at a guy, which we saw a lot last year. So I think it's probably a little bit of just like, balls falling when they weren't before. He's getting a little bit luckier than he was before. But for a while now, pretty much his entire career, he's hit the ball really hard. And now we're seeing the full package come together. And we've seen a couple really big hits from him. These 3-run home runs, for a pretty power starved team that has not gotten what we thought from Jordan Walker, has not gotten really any power from an Arenado or Paul Goldschmidt, although maybe that's starting to turn around. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, this is deeply needed on this team.
Right.
And it's been fun. We're both big fans of Burleson.
Yeah, I just think it's nice to have all the evidence behind it to kind of back it up.
Yeah.
And I'll, be the first to admit he's kind of had some of that evidence in his past 2 seasons, but everything is ticked up even more this year. And I think, we talk about this all the time. He's 25. He's got 2 years in the big leagues. It's still early, but we have a month of sample and it is all coming up. Another thing that has really excited me about his performance this year is that he's hitting to all fields. His 2 home runs, 1 oppo, 1 pull side. And then if you look at his spray chart, there's hits all over the place, whether it be down the first base to third base line. So that, and I think I maybe already mentioned this, but that kind of paired with his ability to not strike out and to remain in at bats is, like I said, I'm tagging the breakout. It's coming, and yeah, I don't know. Let's go Burley.
Well, I added him on one of my fantasy teams this morning, so I'm already following your
Well,
your breakout call here.
and I mean, I'm an amazing fantasy baseball player, so
Oh, we know this.
my word is
Yeah,
gospel.
definitely have always thought of you as someone to take advice from.
I love it. Is the thing. It's good. Anything
Shout
else?
out to the Bird Scored Fantasy League. We're having a great time. I just got absolutely smoked in a weekly matchup, but playing Kelsey this week, and I'm hoping for a bit of a rebound.
Take her out. Sweep the legs. Actually, 100% Kelsey could beat the shit out of you. Guaranteed.
For sure. I don't even. I feel like that's an obvious statement, but
Maybe that's a new Patreon tier. We raised enough money and we stage a fight. We'll have to talk to Kelsey about that. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Let's find the dollar amount, and if so, we'll let Kelsey beat the shit out of me. That sounds like a great
Okay.
Patreon tier.
All right.
Let's ask like the nicest person in the world to come and beat me up. That sounds great.
We should leave her out of this. Let's move on. Goldie, you kind of referenced it, but Goldie over the last 6 games has had a 1,000 OPS. He had a 4-hit game last night on Tuesday. I think that his quality of at bats has been much improved. Or does he just hate April? And are we turning the corner already? Am I crazy for buying that?
Yeah, I mean, he's not the first guy and won't be the last guy to be tagged with this sort of like slow starter thing. We're even seeing it in some younger players like Julio, J Rod, seemingly one of the best players in baseball, has been pretty bad in April now 3 years in a row. And, that's been Paul Goldschmidt's sort of MO. There's been outliers last year. He had a pretty good April. We talked about that last week. But for the most part, like he's been pretty rough in April his entire career. And here we go, getting into May, and maybe things are starting to turn around. I don't know what it is. I won't pretend to know what it is. I do think it's interesting. You could blame just takes time to see the ball. Could be that that weather warming up and he just feels tight in April, or who knows, right? But it's a big enough of a trend at this point to say like it's kind of normal, and that's why we've been sort of preaching let's not worry about Goldie just yet. And who knows, 6 games, it is what it is, but it falls in line that he would start to look a lot better right now.
Yeah, it's looking at his career numbers, but his career numbers in April and March, his OPS for his entire career is about 100 plus 120 points higher in May, June, July, and August.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's all trending the way that we expect it to trend. Hopefully he's pulling out of this. He's still hitting 5th in the lineup right now, which I think is fine. It is weird that it seems like we might be at the time where those guys, and I mean Goldie and Arenado, are just not 3-4 guys anymore, which is or 2-3 guys, or however we have them lined up. I don't love that is potentially changing, but I do have faith that Paul Goldschmidt is going to be a above average major league hitter. Maybe he's already there, but tomorrow it's coming.
Yeah, I have been curious about what version of Goldie we'll get as he ages. A lot of guys at that age start becoming just sell out for power guys. He's still going to hit his 30 plus home runs, but he's going to hit 250 instead of, the 300 plus, or at least high 200s that we're used to. Or maybe, I don't know, you could see him becoming just a straight up approach guy and maintaining a high batting average, but not having as much power. That I feel like is the less common way for these guys to age, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
So, just because I invoked his name, I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts. Nolan Arenado finally had his first barrel of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, his OPS is 681. He's still not really hitting balls hard. Is it coming? Are you what is your thought today?
Well, of course it's coming, Ben. We're right at the, you know, it's always darkest before dawn,
Wow,
I suppose. And
that's
I think we're
badass.
I think we've I wrote that actually.
All right,
Little known fact. Um
cool.
but they yeah, I mean it just seems insane to me that a guy of Arenado's talent, um and not injury related, would just fall off the face like this. You know,
Yeah,
last year was rough, and it certainly felt like it was just a lot of things. He wasn't great in the field, he wasn't great at the plate. The Cardinals weren't great. It just felt like there's something in the water. And this year, like I do think the vibe, to invoke Kelsey again, the vibe of the team is like way better than it was last year.
100%.
They
Yeah,
seem to be having more fun. The games are a lot tighter.
yeah,
Like everything just seems a lot better. But yet Arenado is not really hitting, but he is playing defense well again.
yeah.
He's looked generally like his old self at third base. Maybe a slight step down. I've had less like holy shit wow moments from him this year, but also he's made just about every. I mean, he had his first error, this last week, and so it seems insane to me that he would just be completely done offensively,
Yeah.
and that he'd be in a 600s OPS type of guy. Now, what it is, we've talked a lot about it. He's always swung a lot, but he's rarely struck out. But now he's just making such weak contact on his swings. And he is striking out on that low and outside pitch, just like he was last year. So you can kind of see where the problems are,
Right.
but the solution, I don't know. But I've been saying it for a year now, but I just can't believe that he's totally done.
I agree. Look, he just belted a single up the middle in the game that's happening while we're recording. One thing, I'm trying to be positive with Arenado, and I do think that there's a way out. I agree with you. It would be very hard to believe that a Hall of Famer just lost it overnight, or not overnight, I guess, over a few months. But he has a career OPS against left-handed hitters of 951, and he's just hasn't hit them yet so far.
Yeah.
He has a 606 OPS. He actually has a higher OPS in 2024 against righties than lefties, which doesn't make sense because he's always been a far better hitter against lefties. So I think, even though we're a month in, and I do think it's time to really start looking at sample sizes, and sample sizes we're out of the window where you can just say that it's small. I do think that can be applied here, and I want to look through
Yeah.
Cardinals rose-colored glasses and pick and choose my numbers and decide how I want to feel about them. But I think it's going to come. I think he's going to start mashing left-handed hitters or pitchers, and it'll all kind of pop into place. Now, if Nolan had a 900 OPS at any point in the season, I think that would be surprising to me. I'm not sure we're there anymore. But as we've
Yeah.
always said, his ceiling is so high because of that defense and his, ability to put the ball in play and just put together a good at bat. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
feeling generally good.
Yeah, though, we've seen it this year already. Arguably, the bigger problem with the Cardinals right now is the offense,
Yeah.
right? And you do start to look like, okay, if we're dealing with real regression from both Goldie and Arenado, and they're now suddenly somewhere around league average to above league average, but neither are great anymore. The offense looks a lot different. It looks like what we've been having all
Yeah.
year, which is, enough to win games generally, but it's going to keep your pitching staff taxed. Every game is going to be kind of close.
Right.
And it's really not a recipe for a long-term sustained success. And it hasn't even brought that much success. We were saying we're not even
Right.
they're not even 500. So
Right.
it's not like it's working right
Right.
now. So if they're going to be that way, though, we're pretty much reliant on some of these younger guys taking a step forward, and hopefully we are seeing that with Burleson. But Gorman has still been rough. Nootbaar has been rough. Donovan has been rough. Like, there really hasn't been anybody who has really, stood out, except for maybe Wilson, who hit another home run today. But even he has had his ups and downs.
Yeah,
So.
Wynn has been the best offensive performer on the Cardinals, or Wilson and Wynn.
Yeah,
which,
and even Wynn, though, it's zero power,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's. I was going to try to eloquate it, but you nailed it. You can have these guys regress a little bit if your young guys are performing. If Jordan Walker gets his stuff together in AAA, if Nolan Gorman can remember, what kind of player he is, Burleson, all that kind of stuff. I still think Newt is going to have a solid year. That'll be coming as well. But all right, let's move on from the hitters. And I think we've been talking about these guys every episode, but again, with a month behind us, I think it's important to bring it up that through the first month, Helsley, Romero, and Kittredge have all been absolutely dominant. So dominant that by Fangraphs WAR, they are all three in the top 23 relief pitchers in the early going. And I don't think that can be said enough. I don't know if we've talked about Helsley's dominance enough, how solid he has been, how good his breaking ball has been, and fastball and just everything he does. But to me, outside of all the little things, the base running, the defense being cleaner, that has been the most dramatic change. And I think while I am starting I've been feeling this recently, but I'm starting to want to call for John Mozeliak's head, like a lot of people online are. And we could talk about that, but
burn him.
But
call for his head, Ben.
But what he has done with the bullpen has been nothing short of amazing. And we still have other names, Middleton and O'Brien, who are going to get healthy and help even more. I know Ryan Fernandez got his ass handed to him on Tuesday night, but I think that he's been a solid pickup. Robertson has been a solid pickup. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to take a moment and kind of reflect on how amazing they've been.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about where they came from too, obviously Helsley, internal, but Romero traded Edmundo Sosa for him, and Kittredge traded Palacios. And neither of those guys are starting on the Cardinals right now. But instead, we have our new eighth inning guy, and Kittredge has been great.
I fully agree, but it is worth noting. And I'm sure Cardinals fans will be really happy to hear this if they were not already aware of this. But Palacios has been starting with the Rays because they have injury issues. And he does have a 154 OPS plus right now.
Don't look at that.
And
we're not talking about that right now.
What?
So don't look at that.
And
just don't look at
what
that.
I think is amazing is, everything looks really good from what he's doing right now. But he has a 415 on base percentage.
Nah.
So
no, we don't.
I don't think he's going to be an all-star.
Don't look at that.
But yeah, it's
you got to trade talent to get talent.
You got to trade talent to get talent. I agree that I would also rather have Kittredge over Palacios. But offensively, center field has been a black hole for the Cardinals earlier this year, and a Palacios type player would probably be beneficial, and he would be the best offensive player on the Cardinals team the first month into season.
Maybe.
So again, should Mozeliak still have his job? I don't know. Big question mark. I think I've kind of changed my tune on this recently.
Well, it certainly seems like one way or another that's happening.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a fair amount already, but I think that if the Cardinals have another losing season, we're seeing well, I kind of feel like this is happening either way. And Mozeliak has been, hinting at this for quite a while, but we're never going to see Mozeliak fired. If anything, he's going to be promoted out of base of having like a hand in baseball operations.
Right.
Bill DeWitt's going to be like, I'd like for you all to meet my new wife, John Mozeliak,
That'd
and
be cute.
they're gonna like get an apartment together, and they're gonna co-own the Cardinals or something like
Yeah.
that. And we're never gonna not have John Mozeliak be a core part
Sure.
of the face of the Cardinals. I really, I'm pretty sure
You're
that's
really
gonna happen.
spinning
But
some type of weird fantasy that I don't know
I just think they'd be cute
if you
together.
need to share with us.
But it'll either be done in a positive light where it'll be like, hooray, like the Cardinals, are back at competitive, and it's time for me to step out and let Heim bloom or some guy
Ben
named Michael
Samorka,
Gersh,
Nate
Ben
Heininger.
Samorka. Yeah. There's this dumbass podcast that thinks they could do it better, so we're putting them in charge.
Bring the power to the
and
people. Let's go.
I think we do okay. We do okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think he's gone as a like major player in all of this soon anyway. But if they have a losing season, it's way more. It's going to be more of like a, it's going to be less of a hooray, goodbye, John Mozeliak, good luck with your next thing. It's going to be like, all right, it's time to move on.
Yeah, give him the stinky boot.
Give him the stinky boot.
Yeah, people say that. Last positive thing I wanted to poke on was that as of yesterday, as of Tuesday, we're recording on Wednesday, Dylan Carlson has officially began his rehab assignment. He has, it's slow going. He started Tuesday. He's actually already played baseball before us recording on Wednesday, but he is coming back soon. I think that Michael Ciani has been respectable and fine, but I think I am still feeling positive about the changes that our friend Dylan Carlson made. His performance in spring is stuck in my head, and I think the world of him as far as a defensive center fielder. So
Yeah,
this is obviously good. I think that he immediately slots into the starting spot in center field and kind of just let it rip from there and kind of, see what happens. But he is coming. Yeah, he's got three three at bats without counting his stuff today and 2 walks. So
seeing the ball
well. We'll take it. But anyways, he's coming. It's imminent. I feel
Yeah.
very good about that.
Yeah. Ciani's been fine. He's done what has been asked of him, and he's had some very fun plays out there. Like he's looked good defensively. Right. But Carlson hopefully brings you more than a slap single here and there.
Yeah.
And sure seems like the starting job is sitting there waiting for him, just like it was before he got ran over by a truck in the last day of spring training.
Such a bummer.
Yeah. Sucks both him and Walker not playing right now. Very different reasons.
Yeah. All right. I think I want to start complaining about some pitching, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Well,
go on.
I have one more positive thing to say. Sonny Gray is in Cy Young contention.
Yeah, it's early.
It's really early, and he's missed starts. But my goodness, has he been incredible, better than advertised. There's some regression coming, don't get me wrong. But sitting here today on May 1st, he's been nothing short of amazing, better than advertised. What a deal.
Yep.
I'm buying all the Sonny Gray stock I possibly can.
Yeah, agree 100%.
Moving on. I want to talk. There's 4 numbers that are very frightening to me. And I need you to help me contextualize these and help me understand how to feel. I'm just going to read off some stuff to you for a moment. Kyle Gibson has outperformed his metrics so far. He has a 3.79 ERA in 38 innings. His FIP is 4.87. Lance Lynn has also outperformed his metrics. He's got a 2.63 ERA over 30 and 2/3 innings. His FIP is 4.76, shockingly close to Kyle Gibson's.
Yeah.
Miles has not outperformed his metrics. He's actually underperformed them. He has a 5.91 ERA in 32 innings. This is before his Wednesday start. with an FIP of 4.79. Matz has also underperformed his metrics. He has a 6.18 ERA in 27 and 2/3 innings with a 4.7 FIP. So outside of Cy Young, outside of Sonny Gray, we have a 4.87, 4.76, 4.79, and 4.75 FIP across the board. And my question to you is can a team can a starting rotation stay together with those kind of numbers? Do you expect Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson to regress? And do you think that Miles and Matz are going to also regress the other way? It's shocking to me that we have 4 guys with that many innings with essentially the same FIP. And it seems like, I guess I'll give you my opinion first. Doom is impending. It is around the corner at any moment. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm not sure if Matt's, obviously he's gotten unlucky if you look at his metrics compared to his results. But does he have a spot on the big league roster?
Well, talking about Matt specifically, he's been the one like that I have been the most worried about, and that was reinforced with the start last night. And he is going in for an MRI for his lower back. Apparently, he had been feeling it all week and felt like he was good to go for the start, and then he very much was obviously not. So it sure seems like either way, at least in the short term, we're going to see someone else, the first of likely many, start to filter in and get starts from the rotation. I don't know yet who will be the first option.
I have a guess.
I've seen. Well, I'll say my guess first, and I want to see Roberse.
Dang it! Yes, I was going to say Sim Roberse as well. Yep.
Okay. So I think he's got a shot, and I suspect that we might just see the carousel of starts is going to happen. Actually, kind of surprised it took us till May to get to that point. Although I guess you could argue we started the season that way with Zach Thompson getting his starts. But like these guys, these sort of middle rotation guys, this is just sort of the life of them. You know what I mean? They almost always have an FIP somewhere in the middle of the 4s. Like if you look at Kyle Gibson's career FIP, it's basically exactly what it's a little lower than what it is right now. His career FIP is a 4.23, and they're always going to be, depending on the day's results, the BABIP and whatnot, they're always, they're rarely performing at exactly that outcome, right? ERA is rarely matching exactly FIP. So I do suspect that we'll see Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn regress a little bit. I do wonder, though, in this small sample size that we are in right now, like Gibson had a couple really bad games where he gave up a ton of runs and then otherwise has looked okay. Yeah. So I don't know what the sample size for FIP starting to normalize is, but we could also argue that we're not there yet with these guys, because Gibson also had a pretty good game last night that looked, pretty legit. The Tigers offense is not the best, but it's also not the worst, and we saw him come through in 7 innings with some pretty big moments. So I'm rambling at this point, but I do think probably Gibson and especially Lynn have overperformed their true talent. But that's just the nature of these guys. Like they're going to basically either blow up or have a good start for you. So their metrics can be a little weird until it's all said and done. And then I do have real concerns about Michaelis and Matz, but the Matz one might be taking care of itself right now.
Yeah, I'll be very curious when and if the Cardinals announce who's going to come up. I think, it's you look at the numbers down in AAA right now, and I think it's pretty easy to pick Sem Roberse. He's got 5 starts, almost 30 innings. He's over 8K per 9, under 2 walk per 9. His ERA is under 2, and his FIP is 2.78. Again, small sample size. And I'll tell you, like, if if I had to predict at the beginning of the season, I would have probably chosen Graceffo or McGreevy. They both have not been great in AAA to start the season so far. So I think he makes a lot of sense. We just learned that Drew Rom is going on 60-day IL today. Adam Kloffenstein also hasn't had a great start down in AAA. So, assuming that the Cardinals are comfortable starting his clock, he's 22 years old. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. And I think you can't pull the Zach Thompson lever right now until he gets his velo and other issues figured out. I will say there are some other numbers when you look at Simmer Bursay's Fangraphs page that are startling, but we don't need to talk about that right now. And yeah, that's the move I would make. And I guess we'll probably find out maybe by the time this episode is out.
Yeah. I don't think we want to pull this lever just yet, but though you are right that a lot of the guys down at the minority leagues have not had a great start, do want to highlight that Tink Hence has had a pretty good start to the season. 25 and 2/3 innings pitched, a 10.87 K per 9, with a 2.1 ERA, and his XFIP is 2.88. So he's looking pretty good. But of course, this is AA. He's a bit of a prized pitching prospect. I really don't think the Cardinals are going to rush him. But the Tink Hence growth and development is there.
Yeah.
And, we suspect. I'm wondering if he gets the AAA promotion soon.
Yeah.
And he takes one step closer to the majors, preparing for maybe a later year promotion. I would imagine he's the type of guy that when you call him up, you're hoping he's taking multiple starts in a row.
Yeah. And I would have to think the Tink Hence call up, wow, I would not be against it at all. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I do think that would be a little bit of a desperate move from the front office and Mo and Ollie, but not out of the question.
But also maybe they should be desperate.
Yeah.
Like we've seen virtually no like acts of true desperation to win. And I'm torn even as I say that, because rarely are that's never where you want to be, and it doesn't always lead to the best decision making. But also at the same time, like, boy, would it be fun to see the Cardinal front office like do anything that really indicated like a strong desire to win right now.
God. This is what I'm talking about. You're talking me into wanting to grab my pitchfork and run down to Busch Stadium and start chanting Mo, Mo, Mo. It's because like you backed into a far more eloquent way of explaining the shit that I'm starting to feel. Why don't we put Zach Thompson down? We'll see. Maybe he could fix something. Why don't we have our worst reliever, Andre Palante? He'll be a starter now. Oh, he goes down and gets his ass handed to him in his first start. Maybe he's not that guy. Like,
now, everything is going exactly to plan. This is just the setup.
The setup for what?
The comeback of the century, baby.
You kind of
just like us in the fishing tournament.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think, all right, calm down for a second. One would imagine, or the way that I look at prospects is that I think it's very important for hitting prospects to kind of, hit their little benchmarks, work their little way up, and get ready for big league pitching.
Oh, you hit your whittle benchmarks. You worked your whittle way up.
If Tink Hence's fastball has elite velo and spin, that's going to get out anybody. It doesn't matter if you're in what ballpark you're in. If Tink Hence's curveball plays, tunnels really well off that elite fastball, I don't care if you are a AAA hitter or a major league hitter, you're going to have problems hitting it. And they have metrics. They can tell all this. They can very precisely project how that fastball and secondary pitches are going to play in the big leagues. And I think you're right. If Tink's stuff looks ready, let's go. Like
Yeah.
Mats can be in the bullpen. Mats can go down to AAA. Mats can go to the frickin' bus stop and leave. But we need something impactful, and I think we deserve the right to be a little unreasonable right now. And like, let's go.
Be ungovernable.
God, now I'm all fired up, Nate.
Yeah. Ben is standing. He's sweating.
I've never
seen Ben
done
stand
either of
or
those
sweat.
things. Yeah, never sweated, never stood. Okay. Anything else you want to complain about the starting pitchers that we currently have? And I want to drop another stat.
No. I mean, this was anticipated. So all right. Now give me another stat that's gonna make me sad.
This one is a big time bummer. So, last week we were complaining about the Cardinals' lack of power. We kind of got into how anemic their offense has been. And I stumbled upon a tweet from Buster Olney that I thought Cardinals fans, if you have not seen this, I just kind of wanted to relay it. Buster Olney was talking to a researcher at ESPN named Paul Hembekides, who I find generally annoying, but sometimes spits out an interesting factoid. So these stats are as of April 25th. The Cardinals have had a little bit better offense since then, so take this with a grain of salt. But the Cardinals have as a team up until April 25th, have a 347 slug and a 105 ISO, which both rank 29th in baseball against pitches that are 95 against fastballs, period. So any fastball, they have a 347 slug and a 105 isolated power, which is god awful. It is 29th in the league. The only team that is below them is predictably the White Sox, who have been
hey, coming to town this week.
Thank goodness. We couldn't have been better timing. Another startling stat that he relayed was that, again, as of April 25th, the Cardinals had seen 542 pitches at 95 miles an hour plus. They have swung at 243 of those. Only 79 of them have been in play, and only 2 of those have resulted in extra base hits. Nate, would you like to guess which Cardinals player is responsible for those 2 extra base hits?
Willson Contreras.
Wrong. Lars Nootbaar, who has not been with the team all year. So I think the Cardinals
they can't deal with the cheddar.
I think that they can.
The stinky cheese.
I don't understand how the hell this is possible for an entire team to essentially forget how to hit heat all at the same time. Hit heat. But I think that this is something that they can figure out. I think that everybody on this team can hit big league fastballs and 95 miles an hour plus. Why this has happened, I think, is a question that I would love to have Katie Woo or Derek Gould specifically ask Ali Marmol or whoever. How is the whole team failed at this? Do they need to turn up the goddamn pitching machines in practice? Like, what is happening here?
Get me back there. I'll throw batting practice for them.
Yeah, would you hit like 46, 47?
Well, everyone knows it wraps around. If you can hit really slow pitching, you can also hit. It's like a horseshoe.
You go to any men's softball beer league and you toss those guys 101, 102, they're smoking it.
They're crushing it.
Idiot. So stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is perplexing. You would think of all things, the fastball's the hittable. But also they're not hitting a lot of anything, so
that's true.
It's not like they're crushing everything else. And this is like a weakness. It's probably just stands out, but they're just not hitting anything right now.
It's not a great sign. Okay. Last thing I wanted to talk about is what do you do with Gio Gonzalez? Or sorry, Gallegos.
Dude waffles. Remember that?
No. What?
I thought of it the other day. It was my nickname for Gallegos.
Oh.
Dude waffles.
I do remember that, yes.
Gallegos. Dude.
The bird squad's going to love that one. I hate it.
I
hate it.
Dude waffles.
We get it. Thank you.
You need the hand. I'm doing a thing with my hand.
Yeah, he looks like you are grabbing somebody's chest right now. I don't know, Nate. It's not a cute look.
Guy
Okay.
Waffles. Wait.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bummer. He's been like the guy, even when the Cardinal bullpen has been bad, it's been like, well, we always have Dude Waffles. And as we
So
saw,
stupid.
yes. I personally am glad that I remembered Dude Waffles. I don't know. I mean, he's basically a low leverage reliever at this point and hasn't really been able to succeed even in that moment. I'm not quite sure what options are available to them. They could DFA him and see if they can get him some work in the minors to get back, or just keep throwing him in these low leverage moments, hoping that he can bounce back. But it's been rough. It's been real rough.
He has a 44% home run fly ball rate right now. He's walking over 7 per 9 right now. And he's averaging 4 home runs per 9 right now. It's just not going well.
Yeah.
That being said, it's only 9 innings. He's a reliever.
Right. He has a long history of success.
He could bounce back tomorrow and find it tomorrow. But it is startling, especially when you kind of, I just assumed he would be in the conversation with Kittredge and Romero.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Well, and he was at the beginning of the season. He was going in the 8th inning, and he very quickly. And I think, generally speaking, Marmol's done pretty good with the bullpen. I mean, it helps when you've got 3 of the top 23 in baseball. It just, that's why I think even just criticizing managers for bullpen usage is insane, because they're basically just judged on the outcome rather than the decision making. And but anyway, Marmol pretty quickly pulled him out of those high leverage situations, and now he's not. So I think you probably sit this way for a little while. I don't know. Like you said, only 9 innings. I don't think you go drastic and demote someone after that. Someone who's been at the major league level for such a long time and very successful. But getting him out of the back end of the bullpen is the right move.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm praying for Gio. Dude Waffles.
Hey, now he's on board.
Yeah.
Felt good, didn't it?
Sure.
Well, lots of ups and downs. We've got hopefully some good series coming up. That maybe make us feel a little bit better.
I think so.
But before we talk about those and some news from around the league, we want to remind everybody that this show is listener supported on patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. We've been talking about the Birds Court a lot recently. It's a great place to chat about the Cardinals. And be in a community of people who listen to the show, share some of our ideals and perspectives on baseball, and gets you out of the sort of hellhole that is current social media. Subscribers of any level to our Patreon, as little as $2 a month, that's basically 50 cents an episode of Talking About Birds.
It's less than a cup of coffee.
Hey, what can you get for $2 these days? Coca-Cola. So Talking About Birds, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds.
Is Coca-Cola better than this show? Probably. I think that it is.
Is Coca-Cola better than this show?
Yeah.
What a stupid question. Of course Coca-Cola is better than this show.
All right. Sorry.
Love a full Coke.
Full sugar, like glass bottle Coke.
Full sugar.
Yeah. Oh,
hell yeah. Coke heavy.
Baby.
Mm-hmm. There's all these newfangled Cokes with other things.
Shut up.
Give me the classic. Patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. If you are unable to join the Patreon, we would love it if you would take a moment to review the show on your favorite podcast platform. It really does help. Hambone, where can people find us online otherwise?
Yes, we are on Twitter at Talk About Birds. We're on Instagram at Talking About Birds. We're on TikTok. You can listen to the show on Spotify or YouTube if you're like that. We're available on Spotify and YouTube. You can email us thoughts, questions, recipe ideas, homemade Coke plans to talk about birds at gmail.com. And of course, you can send us a voicemail or a text message to 848 48 birds. That is 848 482 4737.
Wow. 848 48
Did I say the website?
birds.
If I didn't say the website,
Talking about birds.
I'm going to say it again. Yeah, talkingaboutbirds.com. You can find the show there. You can find the Patreon there. We got t-shirts, all that crap there. Again, talkingaboutbirds.com.
People are telling me it's their favorite website.
It's one of the best that I've browsed to. And I browse a lot of websites.
Love it. Everyone's telling me they love it, folks.
Nate's been doing a Trump adjacent thing for the past week or so, and I'm over it. That
wasn't what that was. Just
it sucks.
We love it, don't we, folks?
You're no Shane Gillis. You're no Brian Austin Johnson or whatever.
There we go.
Somebody else who's good at it. I think Will Sasso does a good one.
Nice.
And you suck.
All right. No. All right. We've got a couple of series coming up that, we've said this number of times, should be good for the Cardinals. Coming into St. Louis, we've got the Chicago White Sox off on a historically bad start. Now they've nearly doubled their win total, if not more, in the last week or so. So, things are normalizing a little bit. No baseball team is going to lose as much as they were losing, but they're a bad team. Their best player is not with them right now, Luis Robert. And after that, what do you got? Paul DeYoung?
They made a big splash last year with Andrew Benintendi. He's hitting 50% below league average. They brought in Nicky Lopez for defensive help. He's also hitting 50% below league average. Really, the one shining star that they have, Gavin Sheets, who is a pretty much a DH only. He's been hitting the ball pretty well. And Tommy Pham just came up. Tommy's, I think he's had looks like 4 or 5 games with the club, and Tommy's older, but he still hits the ball hard and can take a walk. So you got a little something.
Yeah.
I really thought Andrew Vaughn was going to be a guy. And I thought the power was coming. I thought, the average was just already there. And that team is just absolutely cratered right now. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but Martin Maldonado currently has an OPS plus of 0. So,
how's that work? He's 100% worse than league average.
I guess so. And actually, looking at their team, they have Rafael Ortega is a negative 36. This team is just bad, no matter how you slice it. There's Eric Fetty, who was he was kind of sought after coming. I think, was he coming from KBO or MPB, from one of the Asian leagues?
I think KBO,
and he's been pretty solid. He's far and away their best pitcher, but he's been fine. But yeah, we should all expect the White Sox to come into town and for the Cardinals to slaughter them, because they are bad. They have scored 84 runs on the year, and they've allowed 163. They've almost doubled the runs that they've given up to the runs that they've scored. This is a bad baseball team.
Yeah, they did just sweep the Houston Astros, which is
hilarious. What the hell's going on with the Astros this year?
That's more indicative of the Astros than it is of the White Sox. But it is just in a single series, a pretty startling thing to say that the White Sox swept the Astros. But yeah, more indicative of the
Yeah.
Astros than the White
The White
Sox.
Sox are just so boring
Um,
to talk about because there's just nothing there. But I do want to.
there's nothing there. Like we talk about the Athletics and the shit show that surrounds that and the horrible season that they had. But you can at least like there's some guys on that team. Usually in baseball, like you got at least a couple
Right.
guys. You know, the Angels have always had Mike Trout. You know, the Nationals have had, you know, you got CJ Abrams or Juan Soto when they were back. But like the White Sox, it's basically just Luis Robert. And he was incredible last year. And obviously he has, you know, the ceiling as high as anyone in the league. But he's hurt and he's very frequently hurt. He's not there. So yeah, there's zero threats on the team. But it is still baseball. You still gotta beat them. You gotta get the hits. So hopefully it's a good series. You know, it's always hard to say sweep because just it's hard to sweep any team. But just like when they played the Athletics, you know, they won the series. You got to win this series. It's a good chance to grab 3 wins. But, you know, we'll see.
One other fun note is, and I kind of forgot about this, but John Brebbia is a current White Sox. So we have hopefully some daps and hugs for Brebbia and Paul DeYoung, and that'll probably be the most exciting part of the series.
It Kopech or they had one of the starters, the young guy. Is it Kopech or Crochet?
Crochet is a starter. He's had a terrible start to the year.
Well, his first 3 starts though were pretty incredible, and then he's gotten shelled. So it looked like they were starting to get a breakout from him. And you know, I saw a lot of posts like a new young ace has appeared, you know, and he was looking amazing, and then he's gotten torched the last few starts.
I thought the pickup of Mike Soroka was smart, and you know he's a guy that's really struggled with health, but when he was healthy for the Braves, I was a huge Mike Soroka fan. He's been getting shelled. I think Chris Flexen is bad. He's been getting shelled. Dominic Leone. Remember Dominic Leone? He is their setup man
another
right now.
former Cardinal.
All right, we got some. There's some Cardinals connections here. We have there's a more interesting series. All of a sudden,
might be some polite clapping for some players.
What percentage of Cardinals fans do you think remember Dominic Leone?
Low double digits, but low, like 10%.
Well, if you're at the game, give a big blast, a big pop for Dominic if he comes out and pitches, and I'll be listening for you on the broadcast.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then after that, you know, should be a good series. The Cardinals stay home, which is nice. You got the New York Mets coming to town. Now we just talked about the Mets and the Cardinals. The Pond Scum slime their way into town. We just talked about them, so I don't know that we want to go too hard on this breakdown, but the Cardinals did manage to win the series in New York against them, which was nice. They are in a lot of ways a team like the Cardinals. You know, should be pretty good, but are kind of in between that right now. You know, I've had some pretty poor performances from some of their stars. Lindor does seem to be maybe turning it around a little bit. But you know, still a pretty beatable team. And hopefully goes just as well at home.
Yeah. Just, you know, don't let Pete beat you again. Hopefully they pull Adrian Hauser starting for the Cardinal or against the Cardinals again, because obviously that worked out extremely well, and Adrian Hauser hasn't been good. And they got to the one guy that we were worried about. We were talking about this before the series, Butto, who I believe is pronounced Buto. Disappointingly, the Cardinals got to him too. So
I'm still going to call
it's
him Butto.
much better. It rolls off the tongue.
Listen, you don't get to have butt in your name and us not pronounce it fully.
Yeah, we're children.
Rules is rules.
Get used to it, pal. But yeah, exactly. They're not too much. It's not like the team has changed drastically. I'll just point out, you know, I think you called out Reed Garrett as being a guy to watch in this series. He obviously looked really, really good. And Sean Reed Foley, you and I were watching the game while we were at the Lake of the Ozarks, and he looked really, really talented. So,
and not just the deep black mustache.
What is that about? So I was thinking of it. Do you think he puts mascara, or do you think he just dyes it, like Just for Men dyes it, or do you think he why Why is his mustache so black?
Well, I think that it's a good look.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. I think that like I think there's something to being a reliever and having like a
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
you know, like if you can stand
Yeah.
out with like a
Sure.
shtick.
I didn't think you were going to give me a real answer on that. So, all right, cool.
I think he
Yeah.
likes it. It's
Oh,
fun.
so much gray in their beard. I thought you might have a little more real world insight, but no.
Wow. You like? I like the salt and
Sure.
pepper.
Whatever makes you feel good.
All right. Well, hopefully a good week. Let's get to some league news.
All right. Not too much I want to hit. You already said this guy's name. Sad times. Mike Trout is set to undergo knee surgery to repair a torn meniscus. His timetable is TBD. Expect this to be for a while. The Angels are saying that he is going to play again in 2024. I call bullshit on that. I don't think he's going to. And it just sucks. I don't know if you saw the post game press conference, but he's holding back tears. It obviously means a lot to him. He just wants to be healthy. I love Mike Trout. I think what the more interesting implication to this is that I was kind of predicting that Mike Trout was going to get traded this season, and maybe he would demand it, as the Angels are just a poorly put together team. Although Joe Adele might be
Right.
breaking out right now, we'll see.
He might be.
Um, it's a bummer, and it's just bad for
Yeah.
baseball, and even worse for that fan base. So sucks. And Mike Trout, we love you.
Well, it's yeah, and who knows? So what I'm about to say, who knows? But it's also very frustrating because he's a dude who has barely played like 120 games a year for 5 years now.
Right.
And so he's known injury prone. One thing or another, he gets hurt. And so finally they haven't had the DH available to them as any sort of full-time capacity for quite a while because Otani has been there. And of course, you're going to play Otani there. So I thought that now that Otani's gone, Trout's getting older, but he's coming into the season fully healthy. We're gonna see an evolution of Mike Trout as a
Right.
starter. I thought one, we would see him playing DH way more often. I know he's a great outfielder, and you want that to some degree. It's part of his overall value package, but still, thought he'd play a lot more DH. He has DH'd 5 times out of 30 games, so not a lot, and he has played 100% of games. So it's like, why they're not? They're not. It's not like they're gunning for the AL West. Like give him some time off his legs. I don't know. Who knows if this would have changed anything, but it just seems like, surprise, the Angels horribly mismanaged Mike Trout, and he immediately got hurt. So very frustrating. He's the best player, like him and Pujols of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to see the back half of his career so marred by injury, which you can only blame so much on like an organization or whatever, but seems like there was no effort made to reduce his exposure to injury this year when they had everything in their power to do that.
He was also stealing bases this year, which I thought was very strange. You think I kind of agree with you. Like, I would have gone the Byron Buxton route of just let him sit at DH, let him hit bombs,
Yeah. Go
and
hit
let's
50 home
start
runs
there.
this year. I know
Yeah.
the stealing bases, he apparently said he regretted not doing it more last year and he really wanted to. And so obviously some of this is player driven. It's Mike Trout. If he says play me every day, you can see why they would just say, okay, if I could play him every day. But I think as a management group, you have to be a little more smart about this.
Yeah.
So
And it's just that team was a long shot with Mike Trout, and they're essentially a joke,
yeah.
until he gets back. But bummer for baseball fans. Okay, moving on. Another kind of crazy thing, or unexpected thing to a star player. Orioles option Jackson Holiday back down to AAA after he doesn't destroy baseballs in 40 something at bats. You and I were talking about this over the weekend. We both kind of found it strange. Um, I don't know what. I don't really understand the point of view here for the Orioles. I don't understand what their expectations were and what their expectations are going down. Um, but Jackson Holiday back down in AAA and raking and probably
Yeah.
likely to come back up at any point. I don't really know what the plan is here.
Yeah, surprising. I mean, like, to be fair to the organization, his debut was like historically bad, like 2 for 34 and both just singles, struck out like 50% of the time, just looked really bad. Like worse than I think anybody was even anticipating
Yeah.
for a rookie. But then, you say, well, he's 20. He
Right.
was just drafted. Like, what were you expecting? Like, were you not anticipating giving him a leash of at least 100 to 150 ABs before you make a real decision like that? But I think kind of what we talked about with Walker too, where he's a victim of like broader circumstances and not just his own performance. The Orioles are stacked, and you could argue that well, that gives them more space to let a kid like this work it out. It also, you could argue that why waste at bats when we've got 3 other high end prospects, one of which who may click immediately and help keep them apace in a very competitive um, division.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the long term plan is. I was surprised. I don't think it's the decision I would have made. Obviously, this kid, of all their prospects, Jackson Holiday sure seems like the biggest and the brightest. But there the he was it was pretty bad. So
Yeah.
I would have kept him in.
Yeah. Nike has announced that they will alter MLB uniforms by 2025 after months of complaints. A letter or a memo from Nike went out to the players union. Unsurprisingly, this is going to take a while for them to fix. As you may have noticed, the Cardinals still haven't got their blues. A lot of other teams are missing certain City Connect uniforms, and like Nike and Fanatics have just dropped the ball on this in such a hilarious way. I can't believe it. How long does it take to put together a uniform? Like, this is
Yeah,
Major League Baseball. What is happening? But
it's a multi-billion-dollar organization. Can't find some pants.
it's insane. I feel like a seamstress person. What's a
A tailor,
non tailor? Yeah. Do you think?
seamster,
Yeah, a person who makes clothes. Do you think could put this together in?
haberdasher.
No, that's hats, right?
Yes.
A cobbler. That's shoes.
Shoes.
Anyways, so that'll
Clothier.
happen. Yeah. What?
I don't know.
Okay. Last piece of league news I wanted to hit on. I found this one to be very entertaining. The Twins are currently traveling from stadium to stadium with a good luck sausage that their hitters tap before they go on deck. When catcher Ryan Jeffers was asked about if switching to a new sausage would ruin its magic, he said, or he alluded to the fact that he didn't think so, and was quoted in saying, "It's the idea of the sausage, it's the meaning behind the sausage. We're going to learn more about the sausage as the days go by." Um, I think that's one of the best baseball quotes I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
I love so there. It's a sausage that's in a plastic bag. They're just tapping it before they go up
Yeah.
and hit their ABs. And I think this is we got a lot of funny home run celebrations and little dances and hand signals. I think this by far takes the cake. This is the best thing I've ever heard,
Yep.
and I love that the Twins have sounds like a rotting sausage in their
Yeah.
dugout that they're all touching.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is obvious why they're already discussing sausage replacements. It's incredible, though. I love this
Incredible.
story, and good for them.
Yeah.
And I hope one day we all learn a little from the sausage.
We're going to learn more about the sausage as the days go by. Is I'm getting that tattooed on my forehead. All right, that wraps up league news.
All right. Well, Ben, I'm going to keep the sausage talk going for the final segment. I'm a little surprised that you didn't include this in your list of league news. because yesterday was a big day for baseball.
Wow.
Okay. You got the bees. That's a big one.
Ugh.
But also, you might not have caught that yesterday was Dollar Hot Dog Day at Mets City Field.
Yeah. I think I did see this, but I'm
Okay.
curious to hear where you're going.
So the Mets on Dollar Hot Dog Day, sold just over 44,000 hot dogs.
Yeah. Wow.
Incredible number.
Huge.
Even more incredible when you find out that the attendance of the stadium was 22,000.
Wow.
They sold almost 2 hot dogs for every person in the building.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty incredible. And you have to imagine there's a fair amount of people who did not eat hot dogs.
Right.
So,
So there's some people that are having 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of glizzies.
You know what? On those days, I always think, the hot dogs, they might not be the best hot dogs, but they're fresh because they just got to keep turning those things over.
They got to, yeah, I imagine so. And so that got me thinking a lot more about hot dogs and sausages. And so we're returning to a little game called League Choose.
League Choose.
Whoa. So stupid.
All right. So I turned to a trusted resource. Ben, are you aware of the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council?
I am not, but I am happy that they exist, and I think I can sleep better at night knowing that they do exist.
Yeah. This is a real group. It is an extension of the Federal Food and Drug Administration.
Really? It's a government body?
It's the NHDSC. Hotdog.org is the website.
Wow. Okay.
There's an article. In 2021, Americans spent more than $7.5 billion on hot dogs and sausages in U.S. supermarkets. And thankfully, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council just announced the American cities that contributed most to those numbers.
Okay.
Referencing Nielsen data for total sales and per capita sales from that year. So, Ben, my question to you is, can you name the top 5 cities for hot dog sales? This is in 2021. Now, this is not strictly baseball stadium related.
Okay.
This is just most hot dogs in a city in 2021.
Is it per capita or just straight up numbers?
So I've got both.
Okay.
I've got both total and I have per capita.
Okay.
Now, total is far easier than per capita. So I was gonna go with total, but if you get one on per capita, I will tell you.
Well,
and this is for hot dogs.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to guess the number one per capita because I feel like I have a pretty good guess to start, and then maybe we can go to the other one.
Okay.
Or however you want to do it, really. But I'm going to guess number one with a bullet per capita is Milwaukee.
No. Milwaukee.
They have the sausage race. They're people made of meat and cheese and beer.
They are a sausage people up there.
They really are.
People. They are tubed meat people.
Yeah.
But no, they are actually not in the top 10 on either of
Wow. Wow. This is performative nonsense. Okay.
This is data, my dude.
No, I'm saying that Milwaukee, they're acting, but they're not, there's a lot of yap, but not a lot of chomp, if you know what I mean.
Maybe too many of them have died from heart attacks.
Oh.
So they can't reach.
We'll have to pull that data as well. Yeah. Okay.
Hot dog related heart attacks in 2021.
Massive amount in the Milwaukee area. Okay. So what am I supposed to do now?
What city bought the most hot dogs in 2021?
New York City.
New York is number 2.
Damn it. LA.
LA is number 1.
Yeah. They love them there, don't they?
Wow.
Pinks, street dogs, so on and so forth.
Love them, don't they, folks?
Dodger dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll go. So I got 1 and 2. It
Yeah.
just seems like it's going to be the biggest cities.
Not necessarily. But,
Okay.
it's a reasonable conclusion. But
Let's-
it's not just the biggest cities.
All right. Dallas.
Dallas is number 3.
Okay. Chicago.
Chicago is number 4. Now that's a hot dog city.
That's a hot dog city. I think I've said this on the show before, but far and away, my favorite hot dog is the Chicago style hot dog with the pickle
Yes.
spear.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been on a pickle journey over the years, and having become a pickle pal, I have become a big fan of the Chicago style hot dog.
amazing. Very, very proud
I'm
of
also not a ketchup on hot dog guy. I'm not a elitist about it. Enjoy your hot dog the way you want to enjoy it, but that also is where I align with Chicago people. I think it's gross.
Yeah, I think they're very obnoxious about their food, but their hot dogs are good. Okay, so I've got the top 4.
You've got the top 4.
Let's go Houston next.
No, Houston is number 7.
Okay. San Francisco.
No, not on the list.
Wow.
They're eating veggie dogs and
Wow. Yeah, really lean into the Trumpism of your whole thing here. It's really fun. I love it. How about Boston? Give me Boston for $1.
Didn't even mean to do it that time.
Yeah, that's why I'm hating on it. So it's just becoming part of you.
Boston is number 6.
There we go.
I'm gonna give you one more guess.
Yeah, I don't think St. Louis is going to be there. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to be there. I could see San Diego being dog crazy. Colorado or Denver, not particularly dog crazy, at least from my perspective. Seattle's got a bunch of fun food up there. And a lot of Asian food dips into.
Say like sushi hot dogs.
Well, there's a lot of like Japanese. I think there's a chain up there called Japa Dog that does some crazy ass hot dogs that are really fun. I could see Philadelphia too. I bet Philadelphia, like people in Philly, just wake up and cram 2 dogs down their throat before they get out of bed. I bet. Let's go with Philadelphia.
Then you got there.
Boom.
That's exactly right.
Sick bastards.
Number 5, Philadelphia. All right. So nice work. Your people. So per capita, I'm just gonna run down the list. You never would have got these, but I think this is interesting. Per capita, the number 1 hot dog place in the United States, Buffalo, New York.
Oh, yeah. There's like 6 people that live there. If one guy's got a hot dog thing, then it skews the numbers.
They bought a lot of dogs. Raleigh/Durham was number 2.
Okay.
Greensboro, number 3. Paducah, Kentucky, number 4. And number 5, Charlotte.
So what did this game have to do with baseball?
It's hot dogs.
Okay. Right on. Sounds good.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Okay.
Quick, one last note. There's also a full list for sausage. I'm not gonna have you go through all that. But St. Louis, number 5 on the per capita sausages.
Yeah. Do you agree with that? Does that feels strange to me?
I mean, I eat 4 to 5 dozen sausages a month, so I feel like, I'm doing my part.
I think that is enough to skew the numbers. You might be a serious data point in this.
Don't look at my sausages. I need them, Ben.
Okay. This is a better character than your previous.
Anecdotally, brats and stuff like that are everywhere at barbecues, and see people at the ballpark getting them all the time. So I wouldn't have thought, wow, we are eating the 5th most sausages in the United States, but frankly, I'm proud of us.
Yeah, I think I'm still just mad about Milwaukee and all that bullshit that they're trying to make us buy that brand, and it's just not true.
Not true. Liars, lying liars who lie.
All right.
We got to stop that, Steve.
Yeah, stop it. I'm begging you to stop it.
I hate it too. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody. As always, remember patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds.com. Hang out with us in the Birds Court. We're having a good time in there. We'll be back next week after hopefully a good week against some mediocre and horrible teams. And with that, until next week, go Cardinals.
Okay, bye.
It's more like Steven can't find the strike zone.
More like
Steven, what's a matzer with you?
That's the
one.
Boom.
Print it. Stop fake killing me with fake guns.